In the year 1997, the future is in chaos and turmoil. Mankind is on the brink of extinction. Brave survivors band together and build a time displacement apparatus to receive a signal from a parallel future. This transmission is the Wundercast.
There's one team that kicks ass. They're assembled. They're the Wundercast. Never back down from the brass. Always start first. Never finish last. Had a mic steam. Bit too fast. Oh no, they're out of gas. It's okay there. Just a podcast. They're the greatest. We're the Wundercast.
Welcome to the Wundercast, the official podcast of Wunderblog.com, the home of AEW coverage. I am the founder, and when I say founder, that gives negative
That
connotation.
sounds vaguely authoritarian.
Only founders end up doing horrible things.
Yeah.
I am Steven. No pomp and circumstance. I'm Steven, your humble podcast host and guide. With me today is the person with the plan
Thank you.
who's got his notes in hand. I listened to the last episode. I'm like, wow, I sound like an idiot. The person with the plan who's got his notes in hand,
There.
the shepherd of all AEW and
There.
wrestling coverage on Wunderblog.com, our podcast champion and non-binary champion. That's right. We're going to give you two separate belts for that. We're going to divide them up into
Yeah.
two separate belts.
Bam.
Two belts, D-Rock, in the house.
Non-binary belt is a real belt. Also, their notes, not his notes.
God, see, every week
Yeah,
it's a little bit better.
You got it. You good. You getting better. You're getting better all the time.
So we had to cover one of the most hyped
Yeah.
dynamites in basically over a year,
Right.
because
We were
I
both-
actually thought Blood and Guts was originally going to be a pay-per-view. Is that correct?
I think they had planned on doing it like before the pandemic, and then like the pandemic hit and it screwed up all their plans. So I don't know why or how they screwed up the plans, but yeah, there was a plan for this earlier, and I think it got scrapped because of pandemic related things. So we got this.
So yeah, the pandemic delayed plans big time with Blood and Guts, and they finally decided to have it as an episode of AEW Dynamite to kick off the summer, because it's May. This is like the first time in May where I haven't been to, since last year, where I haven't been to a movie theater. So
wow.
like it's weird to think that right now is the summer movie season,
I know.
and it's
So-
nice to have this marker of the time.
Yeah,
So
it's
thank
all
you,
on
Blood and Guts.
the summer movie season is all on HBO Max.
Yep. So, and it's funny because since HBO's connected with TNT, they plug they're not afraid to plug HBO Max on
Oh yeah,
AEW Dynamite.
yeah. They had the what was the
Godzilla versus Kong match.
Yeah, the Lucha Express versus Bear Country. That was a great match.
That was a great match. I'm surprised we don't see a Mortal Kombat tie-in.
Well, we did with remember Matt Jackson did the Johnny Cage punch.
Yeah, but I mean,
No.
like, I want like them
Like
to
a
have
real.
like
Yeah.
if you're gonna have a themed night, let's do a Mortal Kombat themed night.
Mm.
Let's have everyone get special, ring gear that looks, inspired by Mortal Kombat. Like,
Yeah.
come on. That would be dope.
I think it probably is because first Godzilla versus Kong is like a much more hyped and like, more popular movie. And I think also probably there's more of a promotional machine behind it to pay for those kinds of appearances on shows on TNT.
Mortal Kombat's just a little indie movie.
Yeah, right.
Can't make it to the big leagues, AEW Dynamite.
Well, it's a little more niche, Godzilla and Kong is like ancient, not ancient, but has a lot of history.
So, AEW Dynamite. So, a first little behind the scenes, which I had not realized while watching the episode.
Mhm.
So, do you know what the experience for the fans who was there was like? Did you hear about this?
Oh, I did hear about this. That they watched everything except for Blood and Guts on the TV screens.
Yeah. So basically, the first hour and change was them just watching
Watching Dynamite.
pre-taped AEW Dynamite because AEW lacks the ability to suspend their cage above the ring. So they had to film everything first and then build the entire cage for that final match. So there were some fans who obviously, they paid their tickets worth and they thought they were going to get to watch a night's worth of live wrestling, and instead they got half a night's worth of live wrestling.
I think there were 5 people who requested refunds. I read that somewhere.
Yeah, I would just blame MJF for that. Just find a way. It was his idea.
Yeah.
He said he didn't want anyone else sullying his 2 rings.
Right.
Infesting them with corona.
So what did they see? What did they watch? What do we got here? What do we got on the docket here? How
did the show start?
Yeah, first up was the Jon Moxley, Eddie Kingston versus Kenny Omega and Michael Nakazawa match, which was kind of, the most memorable thing from this match was that once again AEW referees are the most worthless referees in the this was another one of those times where it was so bad that not only were the announcers mentioning it, but it kind of seemed like they were doing it on purpose. I don't know, but it seems like they're doing a thing. I don't know.
I don't think they're doing a thing. I think it's just us seeing the seams in the fabric of AEW. I would like to note that this match starts off with they tease that Kenny Omega's not going to compete in this match, and then Kenny Omega runs in and attacks and gets the sneak attack on Jon Moxley and Eddie Kingston, and then the match kicks off, and then for the first 3 to 5 minutes of the match, it's just total chaos and the ref has no control.
Right.
And nobody's observing any rules, and even JR is like, is this a Texas tornado match and I don't know about it?
Right.
So I just want to make that point because it's going to come into play later.
Okay.
And then also it ends with the Elite or the Bullet Club or whatever they want to be called coming out and beating the crap out of Jon Moxley and Eddie Kingston some more, disgracing him, treating him like trash.
Yeah, and also they were bullying Cutler into filming the whole thing, and then today we finally got to see the footage on BTE that Cutler shot, which is actually pretty hilarious.
Yeah, it's actually pretty cool. I like that. I thought it was pretty neat.
Yeah.
And it's it's cool to see that angle from Kenny. I like those type of moments out of Kenny.
What type of moments do you mean?
I like to see him on being the elite, speaking directly to camera, being funny, like just being a full heel.
He's an entertaining. I mean, when he hit that one winged angel, and then Matt Jackson counted the visual pin, and he's like 1, 2, and Kenny Omega's like, and that's 3.
It was great. Do you want to look at a moment of that being the elite? Let's see.
We don't want this to get too long, is the thing.
Okay, let's keep it short. So next match.
Next match was Cody Rose versus QT Marshall, which was actually very good.
Okay, so let me just note before we get into this. This match also starts with the heel attacking first to get heat on the babyface. Exactly, almost not exactly, but very similar to what had just occurred in the first match. Also, the result of this match is just like the previous match, the babyface team wins. Babyface wins, and then the person who won gets desecrated at the end of the match,
right? And
humiliated. And I'm just peeved that they had to put these two matches back to back. Like, you have the power of editing. You could have easily shifted it, 2 to 3 matches over, so it doesn't seem repetitive, or had it on a separate week. Don't do the same spot twice with the same.
I was surprised that they were willing to blow off Cody versus QT. I mean, I guess it's not really a blow off, but like, this is like the focal point of the whole feud between the two factions is Cody and QT. I was surprised that they kind of stuck it in the first hour of Blood and Guts. Like, that seems like a match you would want to feature on a later episode or something. But it was a really good match still.
I think that it's just them acknowledging that, they're acknowledging that this QT versus Cody match is not a main event match.
I guess I feel like it kind of
and they're building it to be
one. At least it should be treated that way, I think. But
I think they have to build it so that when it is a main event match, it feels like QT is main event.
Yeah, I guess that's fair. QT looked great, by the way. He is killing it. He's got some serious strength that I don't think I've ever seen him. He did there was this one where he deadlifted Cody off the mat into a powerbomb position. Cody like blocked it and went back down, and he deadlifted him up again to powerbomb him. I was extremely impressed with that. And also that tombstone flip spot where they kept flipping back and forth was also really cool. Go ahead.
It was a very technically engaging match, and interesting, and you can see how they're both, experts of wrestling. I thought it was weird that like QT sent his whole faction away at the beginning. That was an unexpected move. And then I was kind of like shocked that Arn hit QT, and then the ref's looking at it and the ref doesn't say anything about it. Like, the ref's just like, okay. Like, if this was a normal match, that would be a disqualification or something.
Yeah. I mean, I think there's something to be said for giving guys some kind of leeway. Like, I mean, if I'm a referee and Arn Anderson hits somebody, he's a pretty old guy. Like, I don't think it's gonna do that much that's gonna like affect the outcome of the match. So I'd probably let it go instead of like doing a non-finish.
I guess they have to look at it that way. They don't want to blow the finish.
The point is well taken, though, that the refs are like, they let so much shit go, and it's like, why are they even there other than to like count the 3 or for counter submission. But then that's a continued week after week criticism, and I don't know what they're gonna do about that. Like it seems like they should do something, but they don't seem to think that they need to do anything.
Maybe they'll turn all the refs heel.
Right, that's why I would say like the last couple of weeks, the fact that the announce team has been mentioning it seems like they're making it like a some sort of canon thing that the AEW refs are actually really worthless, as opposed to just the normal wrestling referee kind of worthless that every wrestling referee is. Like, these are especially worthless referees.
So it was a great match. Cody got a little blood. Looks pretty cool.
Yeah, that was a good visual.
And it shows how intense, the match was. QT, taps out like a punk. Let's hear a little bit of that, of what the call for Cody winning was.
Submission. He said he wouldn't break his leg in the figure 4. He might break it now.
QT is tapping like a drunk man. There's your winner.
Drunk man?
Tapping like a drunk man. Apparently drunk people tap on the bar.
We
Give
knew
me
it
a
was going
drink.
to be a grudge match.
When they've had too much, they pass out.
Cody picking up the victory here over his former friend, his former business partner, QT.
Maybe they're
Marshall.
just building that the bigger fight is going to be
Yeah, it was, man.
putting over a go-go and the people in the back.
It seems like, yeah, and I really like, I mean,
Olympic
Cody
bronze medalist, boxing. In boxing,
once again is, doing such a great job of putting over other guys in the company. And Ogogo seems like a guy that, when his time comes is going to get a hell of a push. And looks like he's going to be Cody's next opponent at this point, which should be a great match and will do a lot to get Ogogo over and make him look like, a legit, contender in AEW, which is great.
Question, D-Rock. Are we at war with Great Britain and I don't know about it? Because in the past, when people's
We
flags have been
always-
draped over people, it's because we are in some sort of political situation that is antagonistic with the other country in question.
I think there's always been a little, I think we're still at war with Great Britain on some level. They're still angry that we decided to leave. You remember King George and fucking Hamilton? He was so sad when the colonies decided to leave.
It would be amazing if Anthony Ogogo's gimmick is that he's gonna subjugate someone and make them talk with a British accent. He's a heel and he's like, loser has to speak
the whole roster. He just colonizes the whole roster.
Yeah. Like the way they made Chuck T into a butler.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm making you a British citizen because you need to be better.
Yeah, that would be good. Next up, we have a very interesting segment of Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page doing an interview, followed by Darby Allin attacking them. So the first part of the segment was, I gotta say, I'm not a huge fan. I'm not really super buying Scorpio Sky as a heel. I don't know. I was for a while, and then that promo this past week, I just wasn't buying it. And Ethan Page was great. Ethan Page is a beast on the mic. But Scorpio Sky's promo, I wasn't feeling it. Also, we got this week on BTE an interesting little tidbit. We've been asking, you and me, for a couple of weeks now, what is the deal with SCU and Scorpio Sky? And we finally got an answer on BTE today. Christopher Daniels basically just said, Scorpio Sky, he's frustrated, and I understand that, and far be it from me to tell a friend how to deal with frustration. So they're kind of, they're still friends, clearly, but Scorpio Sky's doing his own thing for a while because he's frustrated with where he's at right now in the scheme of things. that was a really good little piece of, little tidbit of storytelling drop in by Christopher Daniels, who is a consummate professional.
Yeah, it was nice to see it finally addressed, and I think that he did it in the most logical and also, doesn't really denigrate it elevated the story the way he responded to it.
Right.
So I appreciated that.
It's simple. It does, when you're kind of trying to go back and tie in canon in that way, you want to keep it as simple as possible. So he was just like, yeah, he's just doing his own thing.
And it was interesting because he used it as, you haven't seen SCU on here for a while.
Right.
So perhaps the fact that we didn't see them around for a while should have clued us in, to the fact that things were not 100% with the team.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
So that was really cool.
That's a good point.
Let's take a little bit of this Scorpio Sky talk.
Who's afraid of the big black bat?
I like him referencing Batman Forever. I like that, but
Sure.
I think you're right. I don't think there's any heat in what he's saying,
Right.
Sting is nothing more than a mosquito feeding, sucking on the blood of this company. And you know what we do with mosquitoes. You kill them. So listen, Steve.
That was so cheesy.
You've overstayed your welcome. Showtime's over. I'm the franchise now, bitch.
Yeah.
Oh, Darby.
Whoa.
It's very he wrote this out and he performed it. It doesn't have this. It doesn't have the authenticity that it should.
Yeah. He doesn't. He doesn't seem like a bad guy giving this promo.
Yeah.
And he needs to. He needs to seem like somebody I'm supposed to not like. But he's cool and charismatic, and not charismatic in the right way, but he's smooth. He's got a smooth delivery. He doesn't seem really, really angry, which he probably should be if he's saying these things. And the line about the mosquito and slapping his wrist, what is that, dude? Come on.
Darby Allin,
not good
you
stuff.
and I
Now Ethan Page.
have a very storied history. But nobody wants to listen to me talk about a bunch of matches no one ever saw. So why don't I skip our in-ring history and talk about your medical history? Yeah, that face paint, that's not war paint. That's not for intimidation, no. You're covering up a dent I permanently placed in your forehead. And that metal in your elbow, yeah, scratch that one up to all ego, Ethan Page. I don't know why everyone looks at Darby Allin like some kind of unsolvable riddle. Ethan Page has the... Oh, there's Darby!
They're way up in the red, they're in the top.
Darby just comes in like a missile. It's amazing.
That was so great. It was literally just he just launched his body like a missile. It was beautiful.
Top level here of this.
Darby Allin just charging headlong into Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page!
Oh, that's so dangerous up there.
What I really like about this, that I'm only realizing now, was that they had Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky up on these balconies for a long ass time.
Yeah.
And now we're doing an interview here from the balcony, and okay, this is where they sit during Dynamite, so we did the interview here. And it was all just to set up that now we get to use it as this battleground.
Right.
What the hell?
Uh-oh.
You came to get him some against these two men that assaulted Darby and Sting last week. And look at Darby climbing up to the lighting ring. Right up, he's surrounded by concrete and steel. Oh!
So this two, I'm guessing, I don't know, was this, I want to know if this was recorded before or if the live crowd is there And
I don't know, but like whether or not it was pre-recorded, the crowd was watching it on the screens because they wouldn't be able to see this anyway, even if it was live. But it was probably taped, I would imagine.
no, but I'm just saying it would have been interesting being in the crowd and then being able to turn around and see a fight going on, you know?
Yeah, that would be pretty cool. I love how you can see like professional lighting on the stairs.
Like, why did they light the stairs so much?
Yeah.
Why?
I knew it was going down the stairs. I just knew it. As soon as I saw the stairs, I was like, "Yep, that's Darby Allin. He's fucking insane."
Into the head of Darby Allin. He didn't even see it coming.
He was running wide out to that trash can.
Look at this double team. An pack of dogs here.
Scorpio Sky holding Darby Allin's hands behind his face and grinding Darby's face into those spiked Louis Vuittons.
All right, guys, you've made your point.
Yeah, man. Yeah, you take Sting out with a heel lock, and then you got him all to yourself. Wait, no.
Oh, my God! No! The concrete steps Darby Allin.
We need medical assistance. We need some security. We need to get these guys out of here.
I wish that they had a second camera angle on that.
Yeah, that would be pretty cool. Although it would kind of ruin the sort of spontaneity of it if they were like, we had a camera here too.
No, I think they could have played it off if you had a camera walk out at the last second from the bottom of the stairs, like, like the camera crew was being called over.
Yeah.
And then you can get the second angle of, him coming down.
Or you could it would be kind of cool. They probably wouldn't do this, but it would be kind of cool if some fans ran over and one of them pulled out a phone and started filming from where that light was, the professional light was.
Uh-huh. Yeah, and you had a fan cam moment. That'd be cool.
Right.
That'd be dope.
Yeah.
Or at least to put it online, you have to have it in the live broadcast.
But yeah, that was a crazy moment. I wasn't surprised, obviously, as I said before, because Darby is a crazy man. Also, I think I pointed out before, Darby is also a skater. So, having skated for many years of his life, I'm sure he knows a lot about how to fall down some stairs without hurting himself as much as possible. Whoa,
yeah, he probably has a little experience with that.
Yeah, I mean, you do it enough time. I mean, they do the grinding on the rails and stuff like that. So he probably has a lot of experience with how to twist his body when he falls downstairs.
And unlike later in the show, this is real concrete. This is real steel he's bouncing into.
Yeah, right.
This is not gimmicked stairs.
Right.
What was next?
Next up, we have the very short match between Britt Baker and Julia Hart, which I saw people complaining about how short this match was, how little time they gave to the women on a show like this, which is valid. And also, I like the booking. The thing is, I really like the booking with Britt just going out there and eating Julia Hart's lunch and destroying her with extreme prejudice. But they still could have done more with it and given it more time, I think. Considering what else was on the card, I mean, really, you got to give enough time to Mox and Eddie and the Elite beating him down and all. They could have borrowed time from somewhere to give a little bit more time to this, but it was good. I liked it for what it was.
I agree. I would like to see more of these types of matches.
Yeah.
On the men's side, on Dynamite.
Definitely. I was so pleased when Cage just destroyed Adam Page, because I mean that's something we never, And especially, I remember we complained a lot more about this towards the beginning of Dynamite, that like every match had to be just like a banger. And it's like, no, sometimes you got to have like a beatdown. Sometimes one competitor is just a lot better than the other. That's the way it is in sports. There's blowouts in sports. And if you're really wanting this like real sports presentation, you know, giving people's records and everything like that, then sometimes they're going to be blowouts. So I like that aspect of it for sure.
Yeah, it was a good match. And I think the whole thing fits here on YouTube if you want to watch it.
Right, yeah.
One of the rare AEW Dynamite matches in full on YouTube.
Right, because it's only a minute and a half, so.
Brit looked great.
Yeah.
I'm not exactly excited for her versus Sheeta. I don't
Really?
I don't know. If it's not gonna be like a hardcore match or something like that, that's kind of what I want to see Britt Baker do now.
Well, yes, she had a great hardcore match with Thunder Rosa, but like let's not forget that before that she was having some really good like regular wrestling matches with other wrestlers. That's kind of what I'm so excited about, is like I feel like Britt Baker came into AEW as basically like the top prospect in the women's division, but really like wasn't ready to carry the division at the time, and especially in the ring was a little green at that time, or just, you know, wasn't really there yet. But she's put in the work, and like especially throughout 2021, you've really been able to see her improving every week. Her promos have gotten amazing, which she was already pretty good promo, but she's kind of hit another level. And her in-ring work has actually improved a lot, I feel like, especially this year. And so I'm really excited to see her kind of finally reach the spot that she was kind of brought in here to be in, and hopefully have a nice long, you know, heel, you know, cheating to win title run.
I'm just keeping my expectations in check. So
that's fair.
What we got next?
Next up was the tag team contender match, which had so many teams in it that I don't remember who they all were. But it was a fun, really, really fun, fast-paced match right from the opening bell. They did another, I think it was kind of another spot where the pre-match attack kind of thing, which if you think that's too many times doing that, you should not watch New Japan, because they do that all the time. Like if Suzuki-gun or Bullet Club is in like a multi-person match, it's like 50-50, maybe a little bit more than 50-50 as to whether they're just going to bum rush the other team before the bell. Like they do it all the time. So I guess I'm used to it.
That's fair.
Yeah, but this was a really fun match. There's a lot of fun stuff on the outside. I've always liked the format where anybody can tag anybody. I like that dynamic. And of course, the right team won, because now we get SCU facing off against the Young Bucks, I guess this week now, for the tag titles, and assuming that they're going to lose and have to break up. But you never know in AEW, but it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to take the titles off the Young Bucks right now, when they're just getting out of the gate with their kind of heel characters that they finally decided to play after all these months. But man, I almost believed it hearing that Christopher Daniels promo, because that was hot fire, man. That was a really, you know, if that had been on Dynamite, I might actually believe that SCU might win the match. But the fact that it was just on BTE, like, probably not.
Yeah, this was an okay match. I'm not a big fan of this style of tag team match. But I like having these eliminator matches, and I like the chaos and the opportunity to give everyone a chance to be on the show.
This is one of those instances where having everybody in the ring, out of the ring, everything's all, the ref is losing control. Like it doesn't bother me as much in a match like this, where there's like 10 different people. It's a tag team match. So that's kind of part of tag team wrestling. So a little bit anyway, is kind of being in the ring together and bending the rules of how long you're allowed to be in there a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And this is, and when it's in the name of, some really fun stuff, I can also forgive it a lot more. When it's in the name of the Young Bucks mugging for the cameras or whatever the fuck they're doing, then I'm a little less forgiving. But this is a lot of fun.
Let's embrace the idea for a second. If SCU beat the Young Bucks, which I would be very happy, right?
Me too, for sure.
Then the Young Bucks could get some heat again, in a way, They don't have the belts. They'd have something to look. They have to have a clear goal, once again, to get their belts back. They're the EVPs, so they could, hypothetically, they could be like, throw a tantrum and be like, we demand a rematch right now or something.
Yeah.
And lose the belts and then win them back, right away.
I thought
and then
about
you
that.
put SCU in the position of like, well, we won the match we were supposed to win, but we still got cheated,
right?
Because they called the second match right away. So I hope that they are gonna get creative with this and not just give us what we're expecting, which is SCU break up and see where the story goes from there.
Which AEW very often does. They're pretty good about keeping things fresh, but also not like outsmarting themselves too much in doing so. So I feel like, I'm excited to see what they do with this to sort of subvert our expectations just enough without doing something that they don't want to do. Which I think is actually a perfect segue into the Kenny Omega stuff, because that's another thing where it certainly seems as though they've really telegraphed what's going to happen in next week's match to decide the number one contender. And to me, the only way that any of this makes sense is if Pac does win. Because otherwise, you just gave away the ending of next week's match.
I don't know. I think
so we should explain, because I kind of jumped in without like saying what I'm talking about.
Yeah, so let's take a look here a little bit, because I thought this was a great mic work.
Wait, Pac or who?
Orange Cassidy.
Pac or You serious? Pac or you? No, I've got it from me, Mr. Schiavone. I understand what you mean for this company. I see people with their hands in their pockets everywhere I go. I see little children dressing up like Orange Cassidy for Halloween parties. I see kids, junior high school students, dressed up like Orange Cassidy for their sock hops because they think it's cool.
For their sock hops. Because they think it's cool. What middle schools are you just walking around and judging children's fashion? Kenny.
I understand what you are. You're a feel-good wrestler. You're popular. People love to want to be like you because they can. But they
People love to want to be like you because they can.
never be like someone like me. And someone like you would never be championship material. In fact, the only thing championship material about you is something that you've clearly ripped off of me.
This is
You
great.
mind? You don't mind, do you? You don't.
Let it be noted that Orange Cassidy does nothing.
You like the shade look, huh?
That's what he does.
I fancy myself a shade guy too. I'm kind of.
What if that's the twist? What if the Pac versus Orange Cassidy match, Orange Cassidy knows that there's a chance at the title on the line, and what if we actually see Orange Cassidy start a match ready to rock, not with his hands in his pockets?
I mean, that's, we've had this argument before, but that's what I loved about his feud with Jericho is that was the moment we got in that feud was him, he finally attacked Jericho and beat him up and, was really into their matches. And, we got to see a side of him that we didn't really get to see. But that's one of the great things about the Orange Cassidy character is, he always saves it for the right moments, but at the right moment, he just turns it on and decides to actually care about stuff. And it's great.
How impressive would it be if Orange Cassidy comes out, cuts a promo about how he wants to be champion and it's his dream his entire life, and then has a squash match with Pac and squashes Pac? That's the swerve I want.
I would never in a million years believe Orange Cassidy squashing Pac or anybody squashing Pac. Pac is top 5 in the world.
But he just looks so good doing it. What he beats Pac. Okay, sorry, maybe squash is too much of a term.
Right.
But he beats Pac in a way that he's fired up the whole time. He's not. This is not a whatever match for him. I would like to see that switch in gears.
I would find it actually all the more compelling the other way around. Orange Cassidy gets fired up, charges into the match, and just gets flattened by Pac, proving Kenny right, seemingly, and then you get the kind of story of Orange Cassidy kind of having to claw his way back to the top of the ranks to finally get that title shot that everybody wants him to get. That's the thing about Orange Cassidy is he doesn't seem like the biggest deal. It's really hard to make him look like as big a deal as he is without full crowds because the people love Orange Cassidy, and he's never a bigger deal than when he's in a sold out arena with everybody going crazy and chanting his name. So it's difficult to make him look like a guy who could conceivably beat Pac, let alone Kenny Omega right here, which is kind of why I would love to see them hold off on his title push.
So yeah, I too also hope that it's the tease to a longer term story. I think that there would be a lot of entertaining stuff in seeing the Best Friends versus the Elite.
Yeah, definitely a lot of good stuff.
What do we got next?
Next up is Miro. Basically, saying that he's going to eat Darby Allin.
Oh, we
Like
gotta
he said
hear.
he would.
We gotta hear Mira.
It's so good.
I told the world that nobody's going to distract my destiny. I warned the locker room, you got a title, you got a problem. Well, now the problem is here to collect. This is a signed contract that states 7 days from now, I have date with my destiny. Because next week live on AEW Dynamite, Darby Allin, I'm coming for you and the TNT title. And I don't care, you can throw yourself as many stairs as you want, but there's no avoiding this. Read what it says.
You can throw yourselves as many stairs as you want.
Works
He
and
is
rights.
Right, works and rights.
But
It
okay.
also says if he cannot be able to perform, we saw him get attacked. He
No,
should forfeit.
no forfeit, no forfeit. I don't need no forfeit. I'm not a man that needs hands out. Darby Allin, I need you to show up next week. It's simple as that. Whether you're healthy or not, it won't make a difference to me because honestly, it won't make a difference to you either. And in 7 days from now, the world will find out what happens when the man who doesn't mind dying meets the man who doesn't mind killing him.
That's a great line.
It's a great line. It was a great promo.
It was a great promo. Yeah.
I
Yeah,
love Miro
so-
on AEW. I really hope, although we've seen that, seemingly there's other plans for Darby Allin, with Ethan Page and
Right.
Scorpio Sky and all this stuff. I would love to see this be a long-term storyline with Miro. I would love to see this be like 2 or 3 matches with Miro. Because
Yeah,
Miro's so good, and these promos
I
are so
think-
good already.
I think that would be an awesome program. I think, based on what we saw this past week, it seems likely that Miro's gonna kind of just crush him, and Darby's probably gonna take a little bit of time off to, give the impression of being injured, and eventually, hopefully, he'll be back to come back for his TNT title, which I imagine he will probably not get back right away. I think it's a really smart move to put the title on Miro for a while, give it that prestige of this guy who's he's been on the grandest stage, and now he's the TNT champion in a time where the TNT title is kind of looking for different ways to kind of increase its prestige and give it a sort of legacy to make it a title that people care a lot about. I think people do care about it, but I think it's still kind of seen as a secondary title. And this could be a really good way to give it a little bit of a level up and make it like, this is the TNT. This is the title for the TV,
If Miro does take it, which, obviously I feel like that's probably very likely.
Yeah.
This will be the title that has seen the most title changes in AEW
Wow.
by my math.
Yeah, I mean, it just seems like, with Darby getting thrown down the stairs and like seemingly injured, and, already he would have been a very large underdog against Miro. And now he kind of has a little bit of an excuse. They protect him a little bit by hurting him ahead of the match. It just really seems unlikely that Miro doesn't walk out with the TNT title, and I think it's a long time coming, and a lot of people have been really impatient about Miro kind of being in the mid card for a while. But I think it was the right move. I think they were able to build his character a little bit. They were able to build anticipation for him, becoming the guy that everybody wanted him to be right off the bat. So I'm looking forward to it.
I'm psyched. And what do we have at
That's
last?
it. It's Blood and Guts,
The main event.
which there's a lot to talk about, right? Like, all the talk has been about the ending and the crash pad and all of this stuff. And my feelings about it, is it the ending that I would have gone with? Probably not. Do I wish that they had filmed it a little bit better to not get the crash pad in the shot so obviously? Yeah. But I think also for a match like this, I think this is true of this match as well as also the exploding barbed wire death match. I think with the level of violence and intensity in both of those matches, I think fans kind of maybe psyched themselves out a little bit and expected like what could possibly be a satisfying conclusion to these matches that doesn't like murder somebody, and what we got here to me was this was a storytelling ending, which is not what people are necessarily expecting in a match that's just such sheer brutality. But to me, this was telling the story of MJF literally would do anything to take Chris Jericho's spot, including like literally taking him out via attempted murder, which is great, I think. And he did take him out. And so he kind of like took his spot by force, which is what the whole story leading up to, between them at least, his last promo was all about how he wants his spot. And so he took it. And it should be interesting to see, one, how long Jericho will be out after this. To me, he should be out at least 6 months. Like, you gotta, and not out as in off TV, but like not in the ring, which, how long has it been since he's been in the ring anyway? But like, he needs to like really sell this, especially with how ridiculed it's been. They really need to put over the gravity of what MJF did here, because he like tried to, in kayfabe, he tried to kill Chris Jericho to, get his spot. And, that's some crazy shit.
Yeah, I like this ending. I think this is a good ending. I think the botch here is the production crew.
Right.
I think that it should have been shot from a far angle for the first shot. Like, I don't think that's dumb. Like, shoot it from a far angle. If you get a better shot on the close-ups after, you can show those replays. But this shot that they got totally killed the illusion that this was steel.
Right.
And for some reason, the announcers were saying it's concrete. They did not pour concrete on a stage. Of course not. This is a stage. It could have been made of steel.
There's actually that if you go back a little bit to that wide shot of them,
that should have been the shot.
There's a shot. There's footage of that, and it looks fine.
It looks better.
The fall from that angle actually doesn't look bad. But the fact that they had the close up on the crash pad was really the big problem.
This should have been the shot that they got for everything. And I wish that even now in post that they fixed it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
What you're putting on YouTube, make it look better than it did live on air. Give me a second cut of how you wish this had played out forever.
Right. At the same time, like, it didn't kill my enjoyment of it that much. Like, this is something people don't really like fully like.
You're right. That was perfect.
Yeah, right. Something that people don't really fully grasp about wrestling is that it's a live stunt show. They don't have like, you know, post-production and editing and special effects and the stuff that movies have to pull off shit like this. Movies use crash pads too. It's way easier for them to hide stuff like that. And it's not as easy when you're doing it live like this. And it's really difficult to do live stunts, you know, and make them look good. The only other place you can see live stunts is the fucking Indiana Jones live stunt spectacular, you know? So like, it's really hard to do this stuff.
My only other complaint also with this is if I was there live and in the audience, the way that this is set up, I would not have a good view of seeing this stunt.
Yeah.
You know, because they put it that he's falling behind the cage. I wish he had been pushed like forward or to one side of the cage.
There's really nowhere they could have done this on any other side of the cage. Like,
yeah, I understand that it wasn't, you know, feasibly possible. They did the best they could with the space they had.
Right.
But I just think from a fan perspective, I would have been disappointed that the biggest spot of the show was obscured to me, even though I was there live.
Yeah. I mean, I was at WrestleMania 32 when Shane McMahon jumped off Hell in the Cell, and it was on the opposite side of the cell from where I was. I had to watch it on the big screen, which at the, Cowboys Stadium is fucking gigantic, but still I had to watch it on the big screen because I couldn't see. So that's kind of one of the realities of but
still a portion of those fans got to see it really cool, live.
Yeah, whoever was like on like this angle we were looking at right now, the nice angle, whoever got to see it from that angle got a great show.
Yeah. And a lot of this talk overshadowed the whole match, which was a really great match. And unfortunately, it's a situation like the exploding barbed wire death match, where the last moments and the last thing that you did, because it didn't work out perfectly from a technical things, technical reasons, it overshadowed the good performance of the people in the ring.
Right. And it's a shame because the whole match was, up until that point, really, really, really good. I mean, there was so much great stuff. Sammy Guevara had some really great spots. Wardlow and Hager had some great spots. There was one other thing that I think maybe more people were complaining about this than the fact that you can see the crash pad, was the fact that they surrendered because of this, instead of somebody tapping out or somebody getting pinned or, whatever, they surrendered because MJF was going to throw Jericho off the top of the cage, which kind of seems a little cheap in a match that's so brutal. And I get that. But I also think to me, it's believable. Like they, in kayfabe, in storyline, they thought this guy was going to try to murder their friend. And of course they're going to be like, no, just end the match. It's not worth this guy getting dead or paralyzed or whatever.
Yeah.
And, some people were like, oh, they could have just gone up there. Yeah, I'm sure he would have never seen 4 people trying to get up the back of the cage and just thrown him off anyway. Like, all it takes is a second for him to do that. So there's no way they could have like snuck up on him and stopped him. So I liked the ending. I thought it told a good story. It's a shame that it overshadowed a really great match. But people love to tear things apart. So
Sammy Guevara did a great job of starting this match off.
Yeah, he did.
And he shows why he's such a important star.
Yeah,
in the future
definitely.
of AEW.
He is one of the guys who is going to be the future of this company, and he and Sean Spears had the spot of the night with that step over Spanish fly off of the ropes. That was unreal. Like I yelled out loud. I was like, holy shit, that was unreal.
Yeah, and we're watching here now Sammy fighting with Dax Harwood. And Dax started off the match too, and they had so much fire to start off, and they started at such a pace that once more people started coming into the match, you could feel the tension, building. Like I like this format of match a lot. I like the structure of it. I like that one team gets an advantage over the other, and that gives you the ability to really get the advantage and get heat in a good way. And I like the visual story that they told with this match, using the cage to inflict so much damage, tearing up the ring,
they
walking on
the
ropes and using the cage to hold yourself up.
Yeah, they really maximized their use of the cage and the ring in this match. Also, I was really surprised there's like a little bit of space in between the cage and the ring that looked very dangerous. I was a little concerned about that.
Yeah, and I think at one point either Santana or Ortiz like falls into it, and it's just like he gets like swallowed up. It's crazy.
Right. Yeah, it's pretty gnarly. But yeah, Blood and Guts was, to me, the second best match of the year, for sure.
You know what would have been a great finish to this match too? Hear me out. This match was supposed to be called Blood and Guts, and we didn't see any guts. So what if MJF had set up some sort of prank inside the cage, and when Jericho finally comes in, boom, bucket of guts falls on his head. Jericho's covered in guts. The ultimate humiliation.
I think it's more metaphorical guts, like courage. Yeah. Which like it's confusing. Like, like if you're talking about like a horror movie and you say blood and guts, you think intestines and vital organs. But I think in this case it was more like courage.
So one stylistic choice the Inner Circle decided to make was, since they were going into this steel cage, that they all dressed up in prison-esque jumpsuits with names of their prisons or penitentiaries that they are pretend from or in.
I didn't notice that. That's interesting.
You didn't notice that? Yeah, they all have prison jumpsuits, and then like
and the Pinnacle's all in white.
Yeah. And so like Jericho said Smoky Mountain Penitentiary.
Oh, it's Smoky Mountain Wrestling. Nice. Oh no, Stony Mountain. That says Stony Mountain.
I don't know if that's like their local like home jail.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know.
Maybe. I love this too. This like team face off right here was really great.
Yeah, this was right out of Avengers,
Right.
and I liked it in this presentation with wrestlers. Once they finally got the 5-on-5, it was fun. This is a really fun match. This will probably be in one of our. I hope this makes the top 10 matches of the year.
I think it will.
We'll see.
It's probably about number 2 right now already, so it'll probably be in there.
Yeah, this blood was not wasted for anything, and
Yeah, for sure.
Santana and Ortiz look fantastic in this match. Enough cannot be said about them. Freaking being amazing. Sean Spears looked really, really good in this match, like you said
Sean
before.
Spears is great. Yeah, it was great to see him wrestle. You know, we haven't gotten many opportunities.
Part of me wishes that Sean Spears had got up on the cage with MJF, and that him and MJF would have beaten Chris Jericho to a pulp, and then Sean Spears grabs his arms and MJF grabs his legs, and then they like swing, toss Jericho off together.
That'd be pretty funny.
But that's probably not a safe bump at all to do like that. But yeah.
Right.
And that was AEW Dynamite. It ended with the visual of MJF bleeding atop the ring, master of his domain, new top guy of AEW.
In theory.
I'm disappointed that no one handed him a mic while he was up there.
Oh yeah.
So that he could say, "Look at me. I'm on the pinnacle right now. I'm on top."
Oh, that's right. That would have been great. I don't know why they didn't do that.
Couldn't do that. Next week is gonna be, or this week, or in a couple days.
2 days.
It's gonna be a heck of a show. By the time you're listening to this, it'll be tomorrow.
Right.
And we're gonna have a TNT title defense. We're gonna know who our next contender for the AEW championship is.
Yeah, this card is so stacked. I might actually be more excited for this week's episode than I was for Blood and Guts, which is saying a lot because I was really excited for Blood and Guts. But we're getting Jon Moxley versus Yuji Nagata on American cable television. We're getting Pac versus Orange Cassidy for the #1 contender. We're getting Darby Allin defending his TNT title against Miro, who is probably going to destroy him, and it's going to be glorious. We're getting the Young Bucks defending their tag titles against SCU and likely precipitating a new breakup storyline for them. So there's a lot, and it's going to be one of those episodes of just wall-to-wall fucking banger matches, and it's going to be a lot of fun. Should be interesting to see what directions they go with certain things and how they, play with expectations or against expectations in some of these matches. So I'm really excited, especially after the promos. Not just Christopher Daniels, but Matt Jackson actually had a really good promo on BTE this week also that I was actually pretty impressed by. But Christopher Daniels just knocked it out of the park and got me so stoked for that match. Also, John Silver finally reunited with the Dark Order. Yay, they found him.
Yo, the best segment of BTE was best friends picking on John Silver.
That was great, wasn't it? That was so funny. Also, the new segment they have, Trick Shots with Nick. I hate that shit so much in the best way possible. He's such a dick. It's just him making these crazy shots and then staring at the camera like he's Damian Lillard. It's so dumb and obnoxious, and I hate it, and it's great.
I hope that it takes him like 5 hours to record that, and it's just 5 hours
it does, right?
of him
like,
missing.
Yeah, no doubt.
Until he gets it.
The best is like the first couple where his little kids were there and they're like, "You did it, Dad!"
And that's the show we got for you today.
That's it.
If you like the show, please let us know. Follow us at Vundacast. Send us a comment. You can check us out on YouTube by searching Vundacast Productions. Doing AEW coverage like this has been moving forward our podcast numbers. And we're approaching 200 episodes.
Oh wow. Gotta do a special.
We got to do something special for episode 200 of the Vundacast coming up.
We definitely got to have the full cast. You, me, and Danny. It's been way too long. We should do like in person now that we're vaccinated. We can fucking do in person shit again.
Yeah, we can do that. Traditionally for episode 100, I did a trivia episode.
Oh, that's right.
So we may have to return to some trivia.
That could be fun.
The trials of trivia may have to commence once again.
Right.
So we'll see how that plays out.
I won the last one, right? Or was that not the last one?
I think I know that you and Mr. J both have wins.
Yeah.
But I can't remember who was the first champion, who was the second champion. I have to check the record books.
The last Trials of Trivia I remember was the one that I won, and Satya was there too.
So I believe that's episode 100. So I believe that you are the reigning trivia champion.
Woo! I got 3 belts now.
3? Oh my God!
Collecting belts. Kenny. Belt collector coming through.
Watch out! Somebody make a meme of him as Thanos.
Where's Michael Nakazawa? He's got to wear some of my belts.
I have been your host, Steven.
And I have been your non-binary world heavyweight champion, Trials of Trivia champion, D-Rock.
And remember, kids, when someone takes your sunglasses and steals them and puts them on their freaking flunky, you just grit your teeth and you stick your hand in your pockets real hard.
That's how you do it.
Hail Thunder. Hail Thunder.
Vundacast? Give it up for Vundacast, man. What an adorable name.
You're listening to the Vundacast.
What's up, everybody? This is Jason David Frank, Green Ranger. You're listening to Vundacast.
Subscribe to the Vundacast.